Is a tutorial that just sort of illustrates how you should really show your work. It's a very important thing to be able to not only just get to an answer to a particular problem, but be able to communicate that to your fellow humans. Okay, so I'm going to illustrate what I believe was taught to me, what is called the Gufale acronym, not an anagram. I don't know what an anagram would be of this. Perhaps it would be Falgoof? Nope, that is not true. Well, something. Okay, so anyway, that means write your given information. Okay, so what's one piece of given information here? The mass, but the mass of what? Mass metal. Okay, let's label that with a subscript, is equal to 17.6 grams. It's placed in a graduated vessel containing 10 milliliters of water. Okay, so let's put volume water. Now, you may notice that there is a different volume of water in there too. So, volume of water, let's put initial for I. Let's make sure that we sort of carry all the sig figs that we need. Whoops, and I was wrong because I wasn't looking properly. Alright, it contains initially 10.00 milliliters of water. Alright. The volume of water finally is 12.20 milliliters. Okay, so what is the density of the metal? Okay, so that represents our unknown. Alright, and now in a problem like that's this simple, it may not sort of seem like a big deal to have to kind of keep track of that, but I guarantee that as we get to more complicated stuff and to prepare you for doing more complicated stuff, it's much easier to sort of it's easy to get lost in sort of doing math and then forgetting what you're calculating. If you can go back there, have a reminder, that is what you're looking for. Okay, so the F part of Gufale is the formula. Okay, so if there's a formula that you're using, so for example here, the density equals, oh, there's our heart, the mass over volume. It represents that ratio. Okay, so now A is all work. Okay, so that means even if you're just subtracting, you need to show that work. Even if you're doing it in your head, you need the discipline to do that, because I promise all the other stuff I just said before. Okay, so let's keep all our sig figs there. Okay, so what does this represent? This represents the volume displaced by the metal. Okay, so now what do we have? Do we have the volume of the metal? Yes. Do we have the mass of the metal? Yes. All right. So now let's finish it off. The density should be 17.6 grams. And by the way, L is label stuff. Okay, label stuff with units. Okay, so this would be 2.20 milliliters. So this represents the density, and that should be what? 8. And then let's keep sig figs. There should be 3 sig figs. And the units, grams per milliliter. That is a really beautiful, not only because of all the colors, but because it really does sort of show linearly how you got from what you were given to what you're trying to find out. Okay? So all your answers to mathy questions and stuff must contain all that stuff. Now, the punchline is like, do I care that you label it E, which by the way stands for explain, but you don't really need to explain it because your job up above is so beautiful, you don't have to. So do you actually have to write Gufale? No, but you do need to include all of those components clearly. If you don't do that, then you will need to write those silly letters and make it into a song. Okay, goodbye.